If you'd like to purchase Magic Online cards with event tickets while logged in on Magic Online, look at Mtgo Academy's selection by trading our official bot, Academy Sellbot. You can find it in the Magic Online trading area or add it to your buddy list.
Hello everybody, this is Planet Walls, back for Playing the Unplayable Limited Edition. That's cool. Foil Living Death and an Academy Elite. Some guy in Channel Fireball thinks this guy's playable in Legacy. Threshold? I'm not so sure. So let's look for cards in this pack that are playable. By the way, this is my 4th draft of the format, I think. No, it's the 5th. I've had varying success. In other words, some bad stuff and then some really good stuff. We're not going to take this Academy Elite, but I kind of want to play with Living Death. Okay, yeah, we're going to take the Foil Living Death, and we're going to try and win with this. That's our plan. So this is the Playing the Unplayable theme that we're using. Turnabout is pretty good, by the way. All right, cool. So, yeah, Foil Living Death it is. Let's figure out what we're passing and what we want to get back. I might want this Death Reap Ritual back. Not sure how good that card is. There's some white removal that's relevant. I like the Plane Cycler. Aftershock is relevant, even if it's awkward. The Tranquil Thicket. None of these cards are good except for Living Death. Well, none of them are awesome. So we're going to run this card not necessarily as like a reanimation card, but as a situational kill-all creatures card that we might be able to play to our advantage. So in other words, unless we see another reason to do so, like multiple, I don't know, other sorts of removal spells, reanimation spells, etc., we're not going to be focusing around this. So, like, out of this pack, this card's good, but convinced me a little bit to red, at least. I kind of like it. Death Grasp is also good, and I like that card. The Nightscape Familiar is also solid. Putrid Imp would help us discard if we did want to go reanimation route, but I don't think we have a reason to do that yet. The Crozen Tusker we can cycle for the Living Death, but I want to stay in black right now, I think. I don't know. I could convince myself otherwise. I'm between the Tusker and the Predatory Night Stalker. What we want is our land cyclers here and other sorts of cyclers. So, this is actually really hard for me. Like, the Predatory Night Stalker keeps us in black. The Crozen Tusker asks if we want to go into green. I don't want to fight people for black right now. I guess there's like this Death Grasp and Blazing Spectre too, which are a little worrisome because somebody might try to fight me for those. But I don't want everybody to do it. So I'm taking the Night Stalker. I'm not sure about that play. Here, the Elvish Aberration is more what we're looking for. Nope. Oh, God, there's a Kirvex Torch, too. This is so good, though, in my deck. I don't think we can pass this Kirvex Torch. This has to mean that red's open, right? I mean, I don't know that for sure. There's also this Putrid Imp, which could lap. Fledgling Djinn is kind of uninteresting. I'm going to take the Kirvex Torch. So, and now this guy is good. We could do Reanimate. Have fun with that. What's interesting about Death's Head is that if it's on the table and we Living Death, no, we exile. Yeah, we sacrifice, so it dies. It's going to neg all the creatures that come into play, which is interesting. The Gaia's Embrace is also powerful, too. So is the Trapper. Urborg Uprising is also fine, but it's a little expensive. I think I'm going to take... Probably not the Reanimate, because Reanimate seems situationally strong, but, like, putting 5 life on this is a little bad. I'm going to take this guy. This guy's just a solid 4-drop. Goblin Ringleader, wow, look at that art. I haven't seen that yet. That's hilarious. Not very exciting, though, like, in terms of red-black. Do I want to do that? Like, here we have Tyrant's Choice, which is uninteresting, Carnophage, which is uninteresting. Man of War is, like, the most interesting card here. I guess this could get us a lot of goblins, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem that excellent. I would rather take either the Spark Spray, which I don't think is that good, or the Mana War here. And so I'm going to take the Mana War. Now here we have this thing, which is a Graveyard Enabler. So is the Skywing, in a manner of speaking. Discard a non-black card to draw a card, or discard a black card to draw and then discard. So it's not really advantageous that much, but it's okay. The Repel is fine. I don't really like the cards in this pack. Maybe like Power Sink is the best spell here, and we go for a more control-y route. Maybe splash the Kirvex Torch. That's an option. This thing is a little bit slow for a looter. So I'm actually going to go with a Power Sink. I think that card is fine. Oh! Well, here's an enabler. for Living Death. Not that we have to play that. So is the Drifters. Nightscape Familiar is potentially good in our deck too. So like we're setting up to have there be a lot of good cards in our deck. Yeah, I'm going to take the Psychotog here. Not sure about that. Let's cost sort these. I guess they already are. Paralyze is fine. Owl Familiar fine. This thing is a big beast, I guess. Even though it's a rabbit beast, it's still good. I think I might want to go low here, though. There's also this stuff. It's worth considering. Killer Whale might be okay in our deck. I'm going to take the Owl Familiar. All right, now here we've got this guy. This guy's Plane Cycling. That could be relevant if we go white later on. This guy, not excellent as far as 5-drops go. It's okay. I don't want to play probably more than one of them. Turnabout. It's like Living Death for tapping and untapping. That's not very exciting is what I'm trying to say. Looks like we're going away from green, too. So I'm not sure about that. We'll go with the Skywing Aven, but I'm not very excited about it. Here the Death Grasp lapped. That's interesting. I mean, Rescind is fine. I'm actually going to take the Death Grasp here. I just think it's significantly the most powerful card in the pack. Here, the Elvish Aberration is actually like the most interesting card here. I don't want this Putrid Imp because I don't need to like throw stuff in the graveyard to get back, really. I can play that way, but I'm going to take this. Like, this is a little awkward the way everything is. I'll take the Obsessive Search. That's not really excellent. Out of these cards, this is actually interesting. I think the Sandbar is probably the best. And then here, probably would prefer the Skywing Aven. And I'm actually, well, this is fine. We'll keep this visible. I could, in theory, play it. But I'm not very happy about this up here. We need to figure out what to do. Are we going Splash Red or Splash White? Or maybe even Splash Green? Again, like these cycling cards are fine because if you have consistent things like Animate Dead to bring them back, you can do stuff with that and like cycle them and bring them back. There's another Kezardrix. There's an Expunge, which is good removal. There's also Thawing Glaciers, which is pretty powerful. It might fix our mana. There's another Mana War. So it's between like Expunge and Thawing Glacier. I'm a little bit nervous about everybody who's going to be running these Kezardrix and Kezardrices. This is like a land. Do I really want to take this? Yeah, we'll play for Thawing Glaciers. That's fine. Animate Dead is going to be good in our deck. There's the Sphinhorned Elves, which are probably going to be hard to play, and another Mana War, which is strong. But I kind of want to take the Animate Dead. Do I actually want to do that? Yeah, I think I do. Alright, I'm doing it. Realm Seekers, what is this? Counters equal number of cards in all players' hands? Yeah, that's okay. We probably don't need to go that route. There's a Trainer's Edict in the pack, which is good. There's also an Elvish Aberration, which is good. So, like, I could go for another of these. It's interesting. The Death's Head is fine, as we mentioned before. I'm going to take the Trainer's Edict. It's a good control card. Here, Paralyze is interesting. This is a removal spell that doesn't actually kill a guy, and that might be good for us. This thing goes into our graveyard, and we can return it with Living Death later, I guess. Brainstorm is not very strong. This guy deals 2 when he hits the battlefield. That's not bad. I'm just trying to think of what I want to do with the Carevex Torch and so forth. Like, this deck looks a little messy right now, to be honest. Yeah, I guess this slows everything down enough to be an okay removal spell. Early game. Huh. Like, the blue hasn't been that strong yet. And certainly white hasn't been. So, I'm actually considering taking this guy. And I'm going to do it. Not sure about that. Here's a Famine. That's like another Living Death, but not at all like a Living Death. There's also this, which I guess if we were playing for Strict Reanimate, which, I mean, we could be, we could get back. The Giant Mantis is fine. I'm just hesitant to go more into green. I'm going to take the Living Death, but we're going to be looking for more, or I'm sorry, the Famine, but we're going to be looking for more Chartooth Cougars and being able to get to 5 mana. Like, it's pretty expensive sitting up here. So let's see. We have ways to pitch stuff and then get it back. Not all of it is great, though. I mean, if we take our opponent's... Ooh, this card is so good. I might just take this. Because it's, like, an excellent removal spell that just exiles a non-land permanent. I mean, I know it's white, but just such a good card. This pack must have been nuts. Chimeric Idol is better for a deck, though. So you know what? I better take the Chimeric Idol. This card's fine. You can Living Death and then attack. Or Famine and then attack. It's kind of a neat card. One of the Prophecy specials. Becomes a creature turtle. Alright. So, what do we need? We need better removal, more removal. I remember there's a Chain Lightning. Why is there Chain Lightning? It's so good. Our deck's going to be super awkward. We really need to figure out a way to... Yeah, we're taking this. There's nothing else in there we even want. We need to figure out a way to balance our mana, essentially. Like, are we splashing blue or are we splashing red? I'm not even sure. High Tide. Not going to be playing that. Nightscape Familiar is probably better than Mesmeric Fiend in this deck. I imagine. But they're both good. Let's go with a Familiar. I like the Regenerator idea. And I'm probably going to take the Baron more here, but if we end up going with red, Wall of Diffusion is certainly not bad. Well, you guys can, yeah, there's some Jerry T's little bro won something, so spoiler alert for some draft, you don't know which one. All right, Baron Moore, get in there. And here we got the Uprising, Noble Templar. This is so bad, this set of cards. They're all white. I mean, this card is good, but it's so expensive. I don't think I should play it. I'm going to take the Templar. I should probably keep it there. And then here, do we want this Fledgling Djinn? I don't think we do. I think we want another Elvish Aberration. Here we'll take the Cycler. So I guess I'm just going to be cycling until... That's what I've been looking for. Nice. And here, what do we want? Do we want the removal spell or the guy that's a pain in the butt? Take the guy that's a pain in the butt, and then Killer Whale. Fine. So this is a lot of cards up here, isn't it? Let's see. Let's hide this. Let's hide all our crappy cards. I think we're still probably going to be playing, like, blue-black splash red. And we can, like, we can play two of these guys in a single forest. There's a channel. That's useless. This has to be, like, a 2-cent mythic. There's another Khazard-Drix. I'm just imagining how many of those giant guys there are going to be. There's also another Man-of-War, which is probably one of the better cards I could take at this point to keep me alive. It's like a decent control card. Khazard-Drix is really fat, though, and it also keeps us alive. Yeah, so I actually think I'm going to go with a Man-of-War. Like, there's also Counterspell. Counterspell isn't bad, but probably inconsistent on turn 2. Karn isn't bad. There's also a Foil Gush. That might be worth something. There's another Chimeric Idol and a Chain Lightning. This pack is nuts, actually. Karn is not great in draft. Foil Gush, I don't care that much about in terms of value. The Thopter Squadron could be good. Chimeric Idol is fine. I might just want to go with another Chain Lightning, though. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's take another. The Matron here is funny. Edric is nuts, but we can't support him in our deck, really, even with the double Elvish Aberration, which might not be played. We don't really want to hunt for goblins. This Aquamoeba could be okay, I guess, but I actually think Owl Familiar might be better. Because we're not really madnessing, we're more just trying to graveyard enable, which we only want to do as like a sub-theme. We really just want to dig for good cards. And Owl Familiar is fine at that. Here's another one. But Dark Hatchling is exactly what we're looking for in our deck. What is this? Goblin Piledriver? That card's nuts. It's just not going to be good in our list. Solar Blast is also good. So the question is, like, do we go with the expensive black spell that is good with Living Death, or do we just go with a good red removal spell? And that's actually a tough question for me to answer. I don't know. The 6-drop seems really good to me. So I'm actually going to go with that. I'm not sure if that's right, though. It could have been right to go with the the other spell. Now here, like, Serendib Efreet is just an effective creature that can sit around and block forever. And I'm just making peace with the fact that our mana base is going to be super awkward. At least we have a Thawing Glaciers to even it out. Repel is good. There's another Owl Familiar. I think we want this. It's going to stall the beats. Here's a Prophetic Bolt. So that's really good. I wish it weren't in the same pack as a Chartooth Cougar. But I could actually... So, like, Obsessive Search and Dark Ritual are going to come back in here, unfortunately. We're taking this. It's insane. Here's a Solar Blast. We'll take that. We're just playing an Invasion block mana base. Just what I've made peace with. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. Yeah, that's scary. I can take the Shadow guy. It's not super exciting to me, though. Like, Obsessive Search helps us dig, but I just don't want to dig that badly. I might take this. Got enough ways to deal and answer this Mercenary. So I'm going to take this, almost as like a hate draft. Here's another Graveyard Enabler that I don't think I would ever use, even though it basically cycles stuff. Out of these cards, I think, even though this is probably the best one, I'm taking the Kezardrix, which is the big body that I could see bringing in from the board or just running. This card is not super exciting, by the way. The Kenai Aven. I mean, it's okay. I just like it because it cycles. I'm not sure how valuable that's going to be. Killer Whale likes eating a Thopter, for sure. And he survives famine. Like, we could go any number of routes here. It's probably going to end up being wrong to play the Death Grasp and the Elvish Aberrations. I wish I had another Chartooth Cougar. That's kind of how I feel right now. And I could consider, well, let's see, Karn, Thopter Squadron, this guy. Like, how many of these cards do I actually want to run, realistically? I don't think I could afford another 5-drop. Like, this is a giant wall, I guess, but it costs so much mana. This at least kills something when it hits the battlefield. Like, I don't really want to be running any of these cards, probably. I guess I'd be least happy to see this on my opponent's side of the board. So I'll take that, but I don't think we're running it. This Goblin Matron is actually kind of scary, still being in the pack. Not going to be playing this. Don't think I'll be playing this. I'm going to take this just as like a bad hate draft. Now here we have a Forgotten Cave and an Owl Familiar. And a Deep Analysis. I actually think Deep Analysis is kind of nutty. Let's take that. And we get an Owl Familiar here if we want it. And that Chartooth Cougar Lapped, which is insane. And we get a Caldera Lake for mana fixing. So didn't expect those last few picks to be as valuable as they were, but I feel like our deck may have just come together. I am not convinced I made the right play passing whatever I passed for this, though. What did I take? It was like something that did something similar. I wish we'd seen a Flame Tongue Kapu. That would have been nuts. So I'm actually going to... We need to figure out like what's going on color-wise. That Goblin Commando is probably not going to get in there in the end. But it's worth considering. Then we have Prof Bolt somewhere. Yeah, get down there. This gentleman, he can go here. Obsessive Search probably won't go in, even though it has some synergy with some of these guys. So I need to be like very careful with what I do with a lot of my spells. I think this should be in here, the Power Sink. Killer Whale. I'm gonna put these guys down here, but they aren't super exciting to me. Skywing Aven is kind of mediocre these days, now that damage doesn't go in the stack. Chimeric Idol can go down there. Thopter Squadron will dump him here for now. But I'm not excited about it. Having the 2 Cougars makes like Living Death a lot better, for sure. Nightscape, get in there. Animate Dead is going to get in there, I think. Because it can take an opponent's guy. Otherwise, I don't think I would do it. It can also, like, after dumping a Dark Hatchling, we can just Animate Dead it. So, things I could do, like, we've got the Elvish Aberrations and other stuff. I just don't think it's going to work. So, like, the trouble here is going to be to figure out, why did I do that? To figure out the mana situation. I think that's the hard part. One of these Skywing Avens is getting out of here. I can say that right now. Goblin Commando is super expensive. And the Thopter Squadron is kind of slow. Like, I'd rather have probably any of these other creatures. So get this out of here. This thing probably gets cut too. Alright, and this is more of like a 2 or 3 drop whenever we have extra mana floating around. Alright, so this is 30. This is definitely a 17 land deck, so we need to cut 7 cards from this. My thought right away is that Skywing Haven is probably one of them. I know it discards, but that's okay. I don't care that much. Kenai even cycles, so that's fine. I mean, maybe because we have so many cyclers, we can play 16 land. But I don't necessarily trust that. And also we can get some of the land out of our deck with Thawing Glaciers. So this deck looks really fun to me. That's how I feel about it. I don't want to cut that many more creatures, though. So like the real question is mana. I suspect that this Goblin Commando doesn't need to be in the deck. I think most of these other creatures are better. We have these 2 Chain Lightnings down here, which is somewhat awkward. So, like, the mana base of our deck super sucks. And maybe Khazard-Drix needs to leave just because it's part of the glut at this, like, certain mana differential. Because, like, black is actually the toughest color right now in terms of what we can do. So I wonder if cutting this guy is right, even though he's a big beater. Yeah, the mana base here is awkward, to say the least. Like blue, everything only costs 1 blue except for Killer Whale. So I'm actually inclined to cut him. But this brings us down to 14 guys, which is a little on the low side. It's 26, so I'd want to cut 3 more. Like maybe it's Nightscape Familiar. I don't know. I don't know how my mana base is going to look, except that I know it's going to look bad. Like I just don't know how good Skywing Haven is in this set. Like maybe the Defiler, we don't have the mana to support it at the 4-drop slot, and I should like just put in some other stuff instead. But that, I don't know. That seems wrong to me. Like maybe the Power Sink goes. And I just bring that in from the board when I'm on the play. That could be. Because when I'm on the draw, it kind of is bad. Alright. And then out of these, I do wonder if this is like the card that's hardest for me to get into play. But it means I kind of want to bring this in. Or, I don't know, maybe another Skywing Haven in or something. I would still have to cut 3 cards. Like, I do kind of want to try the Living Death plan, even though my mana base is super awful. Let's see. What would I want to do? Like, there are so many ways to build this deck. I can also cut, like, an Owl Familiar. This doesn't have a lot of board presence, even though it cycles through things. So maybe we cut that. And the Skywing Haven, I'm doubting its inclusion again. Same with this Kenai Haven. I mean, this guy just seems super awful to me. Am I bad for thinking that? Let's cut him. Alright, and then we're down to 13 guys now, which is kind of on the low end. A lot of things are cycling, though. Like, these are basically not even, like, creatures. We just have 2 drops, and these things need to count as creatures in order to get in there. So all those things are, I think, bad. And I think that means we need to play the Skywing Haven as sort of like a win con. Like, we want Living Death to bring some of our guys back, not just be a Wrath of God for the most part. So what do I have to cut here? 1 card, in theory? I don't want to cut a Chain Lightning, because I think it's nuts. I could cut another Owl Familiar. That's like cutting another dude and another Graveyard Enabler. Like maybe Animate Dead is just bad. And I'm not sure about that. Yeah, Animate Dead actually seems fine to me. It's almost like a dude. So, I mean, I could cut like Famine. I think that that's wrong, though. Also try to eliminate as many creatures as possible that die to Famine. And the Carevex Torch is a good finisher. I mean, we could do the old 16 land here. Maybe that's the way to go with these 2 and these. I mean, our mana base is super horrible, but Yeah, let's do it. I've convinced myself that we're going to run 16 lands. So congrats to me. All right, let's look at color. Like, what has to hit play here? A lot of these things and a lot of these things. And then these are a little bit later. And we've got these mountain cyclers. So, like, I only want to play maybe, like, 2 mountains on top of this. So that means we won't be able to do this consistently on turn 1. That's okay with me, I think. So essentially we're splashing red, despite the large number of cards we have in red. There's also the Prof Bolt, but that's okay. I think by that time we definitely have red. And then it's between blue and black, right? So I could see needing... I think I need like 7 black sources ideally, and I'm going to count Thawing Glaciers as one of them. So that would be... how many then blue sources? Then we'd only have 5 blue sources. I'm going to ask it to suggest. That's wrong. Let's see what happens when it looks like this. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yuck, it's so bad. Yeah, Thawing Glaciers is pretty slow, too. I mean, we could actually cut a mountain. I'm actually tempted to do that. Like, the problem is you can't play Chain Lightning early. But we've got these Cougars. I'm cutting a mountain. I'm not convinced that that's right. It could even die. And then, let's see, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 swamps. I think we need another black source in here. Let's try this horrible thing. So I'm submitting this. I will see you guys first round.